Fuck.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome in to another episode of the Triple Play Fantasy Baseball Show, a proud member of Fantasy Points and the Fantasy Points Media Group. Just a quick reminder for you guys, you get access to all the great tools over at Fantasy Points with a 10% discount if you use code TriplePlay22. Make sure you use that code. I promise you that 10% off, better than any 10% off you're going to get anywhere else. I can guarantee you that. What's going on, everybody? D-Mendy here, joined by a cheesy dessert that uses and sings his ABCs, whether that's aces, bases, and closers, or angel food, Boston cream, or cheesecake. It is Art Tornaveni, a.k.a. Little Cheesecake DLC. Elsie, how's it going?
It's going really well. You're reminding me that I am deciding to bake a cake with my boys coming soon. We're gonna make a yellow cake together. It's a treat for everyone because they feel like they're doing something really great, and I get to eat some cake at the end of it. So I'm reminded of that when you bring that up. Not angel food or Boston cream, but it's a pretty good cake. Yellow cake with chocolate frosting.
Are you going to send any my way or no?
I mean, probably not. It's not going to make it past the weekend with the three of us savages over here and that yummy frosting. It's not going to make it past the weekend.
Glad to see that you like to share with your family here. That's okay. That's okay. We'll let it slide. Of course, also joined here by a man that sings Nolan Arenado as alarm clock would go off in the morning. And that's Eric Mendelson, aka the Doc. What's going on?
I can't take you seriously when you're laughing introing me on, David.
Do you remember it? Do you remember doing that?
Dude, of course I do. Come on.
Aren't you proud that I remembered that?
No, I'm not.
You should be. You should be. I was very proud that came to me. Of course, also the last member of the crew, we can't forget the man that makes sales and grinds rails. It's Marty Tallman, a.k.a. Marty Party. What's up, man?
Dude, I'm doing very well. I thought it was some kind of sick joke to have the first day of TGFBI on the last day of the month. As a man who's in sales, day in, day out, that's grind time, but it's okay. I still have I think I have the best average pick time, like the lowest. And I'm really liking my team and I'm feeling good tonight.
What's your average pick time?
Under 2 minutes.
So Yancey Eden, good friend of the show, is in my draft room. You guys want to know what his pick time is?
6 seconds.
It's 7 seconds.
Unbelievable.
He's the man.
That's next level.
Yeah, that's goals. But your time isn't too bad either.
No, some of them are an hour.
Couldn't be me. Maybe when we're all together, we're an hour, but separate, we're a little bit better than that. But I'll tell you what's also a little bit better than that. That's the guest this week. We welcome in a man that you could call the Anthony Volpe of the prospect community. He's a writer, a prospect analyst for Fantrax, a Mariners correspondent for Prospects 1500, and a dynasty lister at Roto Fanatic. This man stays busy between his marriage to the Mariners and all the great writing he does across multiple sites. He may be part of Prospects 1500, but he's number one in our hearts and on today's show. So welcome in Michael Richards. How's it going, man?
It's going great, man. Thanks for having me back on the show. I appreciate it. I really enjoy watching your guys' videos and all the different things you do, and happy to be part of this.
Hey, man, happy to have you on the show. You are incredibly smart, incredibly talented, and you have good taste in podcasts. So we love to have you here. And before we get started with all the great stuff tonight, please tell everybody I know I covered some stuff, but what should the people know about you that they may not already know?
Well, let's see. I got started with this baseball stuff last year. I kind of got popular, I guess, on Twitter, just doing a lot of lists. And then I kind of shifted over to doing daily prospect updates. So people have reached out to me a lot and thanked me for helping them, transform their minor leagues and their dynasty teams just by telling like random guys. Like I mentioned Anthony Volpe in early season last year. A lot of people picked him up and just random things like that. So that's the main thing I'm focused on. I'm looking forward to that coming back once the minor league starts in 38 days. That's going to be my main focus. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it for now. And writing articles.
Again, I mean, you're a great prospect mind and a great follow. Do a lot of great work. And we need that mind here because we've got a very perplexing position to talk about today. And that is our shortstop preview. So obviously real baseball, we're going to talk about that in a second, but we're here to bring you some good fantasy baseball content with the shortstop position and go over players we're fading, some players we like, some late round gems, all that great stuff. There's going to be disagreements, debates, maybe even some agreements if we're lucky, but there's going to be a ton of great fantasy baseball information coming your way. After we go to our bullpen for our question of the week, you get to make one pitcher that has 3 pitches. All the pitches are from current MLB pitchers. What is your pitcher's arsenal? And our game of the week coming in to shut the door. So if you guys are ready to get another episode started, then man, we here to do it for you. Let's dive right in and let's talk about the first bit of news. And it's honestly, it's a lot. So I don't know. Obviously you guys have kept up with the news about the baseball season, what's been going on. And I just want to outline for our listeners, in case they've been maybe not too caught up with everything, is on Tuesday, MLB made its best and final offer before the 5 p.m. Eastern deadline to avoid game cancellations. The union players' leaders voted unanimously to decline the offer. And for fans like all of us, it marks a disheartening and just ugly end of these negotiations that we've been so invested in over these last few days. You got Rob Manfred basically talking about now he officially canceled the first 2 series of the regular season. And then after he was practicing his golf swing. So that just shows you how much he really does care about everything that's going on right now. They have no plans to reschedule this contest or doubleheaders or anything like that. These games are gone. So that's the best case scenario is we get the schedule in at about 155 games as it currently stands right now. That's the maximum that can be played in 2022. But there's been no update as far as what we can expect going forward from that. So they're supposed to have a couple more meetings, but it's not very promising as it stands today. A couple things I did take note of as far as gaps in some talking points in their contract stuff here. Minimum salary, they were $25,000 apart. Competitive balance tax, they were $18 million apart. Service time manipulation, MLB's offered 2 draft picks within the player's first 3 years if he finishes a top 3 in Cy Young Rookie of the Year MVP. And players receive MLBPA wanted a full year of service time with their rookie season if infielders, catchers, and DHs finish at the top 5 of their position in WAR. The anti-taking measures, which I don't know if you guys knew this was something they were also debating about, but MLB wants the lottery for the top 5 picks, equal odds. And then the MLBPA wants the lottery for the top 7 picks. And then after the top 7, it's by worst record. And then they agreed universally on 12-team playoff, minor league options at 5, and a universal DH, but not on uniform advertising. So it's a lot to break down there. I know it talked a lot, but this is basically just a lot of the issues that have been going on kind of behind the scenes here. I want each of you to give me your Cliff Notes version, so maybe like a 2 minutes or less version of your thoughts on everything that had been going on. And this is kind of your platform just to speak your mind just for where we're at today. Michael, you're the guest, so why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Okay, well, first I'll start by saying this is the sort of stuff I don't normally pay attention to because I don't have any control over it. Like, I don't want to ride the roller coaster. So, like, I haven't posted anything about this on social media. Mm-hmm. But I do know people, and actions speak louder than words. And to me, the owners have made it clear that they're not interested in making a deal from the start. And anything that's led to this point was theatrics, basically. And I'm not sure exactly what their motivation is long term, but they're trying to change something for good. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the owners. I'm not a fan of what they're doing. I support the players 100%, basically, like on every level. And they should be asking for more than they're asking for and getting more than they're going to get.
Yeah, I think most people are definitely on the same page with you. And we saw how little the owners were going to budge. And we saw all the tactics they used by basically saying that they were going to sit down and try to get this done and making it seem like that they were interested in trying to do something. But we all know they were okay missing games. Cheesecake, what about you?
I think the owners have not been acting in good faith from the start. They didn't want to get it done. I think a report came out today in the group chat. I think Marty sent it around. So I'm stealing your point, Marty, here, and saying that the owners can miss up to 25 games and feel just fine with that. They're not really losing money at 25 games. It's once it gets to more than 25 games where the owners might have a little bit of incentive to get things going. To me, this is, they haven't been doing this in good faith the whole time. If they really were in good faith, they would have pushed to start meeting every day way sooner. That's all.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you're saying there. Marty, did he take everything you were going to say?
He stole it all. He absolutely stole it all. But no, the 25 games is a good point because they won't lose any regional money. So let's say, Fox Sports or Bally Sports Fitness, they don't, as long as they keep it under 25 missed games, they get their full paycheck, which is kind of crazy. Like, I don't know how they worked it out. See, the owners just hustle, man. That right there, that contract's nuts to lose 25 games and you still get the full pay. But my biggest point is, and it's just real simple. The valuation of every MLB franchise has skyrocketed and the minimum salary has gone down. So the owners keep making more money and then they're expecting the players to take less. That doesn't fly. That's it. That's my whole thing. That's it.
Yeah, and to that point too, there was also reports that the MLB owners implemented at the very last second 3 rule changes they wanted to take effect this year, banning shifts, a pitch clock, and oversized bases. And right now, they apparently, Bob Nightingale, you can take whatever you want to say with a grain of salt, but he said that this will not begin before the 2024 season unless the union agrees. MLB wants this to take into effect in 2023.
Yeah, and Ross Stripling's really good Twitter follow, and he said it all. He said that, they put in all these different things right at the last second as if they haven't been prepared. And he's like, we've been prepared for 5 years. We knew they were going to do this. They waited until there's only 10 days left to sit down with them. So we know, like Art said, they were never doing this in good faith. It's all about the money, baby.
It stinks as fans. Doc, what about you, man?
So this is a business, and the inherent goal, the DNA of any corporation is to make as much money as possible. And you do that by paying as little as possible. And it's not just with baseball. Look at the average CEO salary for any industry, and they're going up. And a lot of times people in these high positions, they act in bad faith because they can. And a lot of it is ego driven. That's what we're seeing with MLB owners here. And I hate to be a Debbie Downer. I'm afraid we're missing more than 25 games. Like at this point, I'd be okay missing 25 with the fact that we're getting a season. But the players seem like how many times have we seen people take to social media to air out the grievances before? Like the players are doing everything they can to get the ball in their court. I think they've had the public sympathy more than ever. Like they're going to play hardball. And for a lot of them, they're going to need the money. But a lot of these union leaders or team representatives are people that make a good salary, and they're going to look out for the future generations. I just hope we get something this season because the hardcore fans like us, of course, we're going to be back instantly, but they're going to lose a lot of fans for future generations. And you just hate to see that for America's pastime.
Yeah, it's very rough right now, but hopefully doing stuff like this to keep our minds on what we love and not on the democracy of everything right now is kind of where we want to keep us at and where we want our listeners to stay at, because we like to keep baseball talk fun, engaging, exciting, informative, and that's what we're going to keep bringing you guys. Of course, tonight, continuing that with our shortstop preview. So let's get into the good stuff, what you came here to listen for at the 15-minute mark of this podcast, all right? So we're talking about our top 30 shortstops and then a gem going outside our top 30. First, of course, going in the 1 through 15 range. And of course, we use NFBC ADP. We have a 2-week cutoff. So this is since February 17th, as far as what we're talking about, the ADP, where they stand. And let's do it, guys. Let's dive in. Let's talk about our favorite shortstops in the 1 through 15 range. Remember, favorites and fades could mean draft price being accounted for. So, Mike, got to ask you, In the top 15, who is your favorite to try to draft?
Well, I mean, obviously, I want the top picks, so I'm gonna leave those out there, like Tatis and those guys. But as far as after them, the guy that I find myself most interested in at his price is Xander Bogaerts. And I know someone else wrote him on their list too, but he's just really the one that stands out to me. Like his batting average, his home runs, RBIs. He's gonna chip in the steals. He always plays, So if you can afford to add a shortstop at that point, and you don't need like top end speed, he's the guy. And I like him more than some of the guys that are going ahead of him too.
Yeah, I mean Bogaerts you miss out on the top few guys there, and he falls right in your lap in the third round. I think a lot of people love taking him there. Doc, he's also, as Michael mentioned, you like him very much so here too. Why are you a fan?
Yeah, so since he entered the league in 2014, the minimum amount of games he's played in a season is 84%, and that includes the shortened 2020 season. I mean, look, he's a consistent guy. He's going to give you double-digit home runs, at least a 10 floor, but he's had 20 or more 4 times in his career, a career high of 33. Probably give you around 80, 90 RBIs, but has that 100-plus potential. They do have a really good lineup. Doesn't really strike out a lot. Good contact hitter. Some stolen bases. He's a safe pick. He's what Bubba calls a steady Eddie. And in third, fourth round, if you can get him there, that's great.
Yeah, third round's right around where he's been settling in most drafts. And you can see with the NFBC ADP, he's going around pick 47. So if you're in a 15-team league, again, that's firmly into the third round.
Can I just ask, I just want to know that max pick of 67. Like that's insane.
Yeah, I don't know how he slipped.
I might spontaneously combust if I was in that league.
And this is, again, since February 7th. It's not like this is over the whole offseason. This is over the last few weeks. So, yeah, that's pretty wild.
Must be all Yankees fans in that draft.
Could be. That's a good call, Doc. Now, LC, you're a fan of the guy above him, Marcus Semien, which I think I hear him trashed at his ADP a lot more than people liking him at his ADP. Why are you on the opposite side of the fence?
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about him, because I do think that he's being drafted appropriately. I think he's someone who, going in the back half of the third round, you start to look at people have been throwing around the word draft build a lot this offseason. This is every podcast talking about, I like how I can build from here. Semien is someone who fits into a lot of different builds, especially if you're drafting in the back half of the first and you go hitter pitcher or pitcher pitcher. Your hitter is most likely going to be an outfielder. And Semien, he's going to Texas. Yes, he's not going to have the same season he had with Toronto last year. You're not expecting anything like that. If you were expecting 45 home runs, he'd be going in 15 steals. He'd be going in the upper half of the first round. He's going in the latter half of the third because the regression is expected. But what Semien does give you is Semien gives you a lot of volume. He plays every day. He's going to be hitting at the upper half, at the top of that Rangers lineup. And he's going to give you some pop, and he has above average speed. He's a double-digit steals guy. So you're going to get double-digit steals. You're going to get probably close to 30 or more home runs and 180 plus runs plus RBIs in that. That's pretty much a 5-tool contributor at that point, especially if he gets back up to his 15 steals from last season. So I think that people are trashing him, but he's a steady Eddie, just like Xander Bogaerts. He's an accumulator, but he gives you above average pretty much everywhere. He's going to be about average in batting average, about the median, in that. But otherwise, he's a good performer, and I think he fits into a lot of builds where he's going.
So you don't think with him getting a new contract that he may stop running anymore? Just kind of at that point, I mean, stolen bases are a big part of his profile. Mm-hmm. And so if he cuts his stolen bases down, is that still worth where he's going for you?
Well, I know Texas is a is a running team. They allow their people to run. It's and it is about his desire to run. He got 15. I'm saying that he's going to gear back between 10 and 15. So I think he's going to run probably a little bit less, but it isn't determined by his value is not determined solely on the speed. That's just a component of it. I think that he's going to provide enough pop and counting stats, even if he doesn't get to that double-digit steals. But I do think he'll at least get to close to double-digit steals.
If you look at his games played since 2018, 159 in 2018, 162 in 2019. He played 53. Was it 60? How many games was it? 60 games in the shortened season?
Mm-hmm.
53 of the 60 games in 2020, and then 162 again last year. So if you combine, he's missed 10 games in the last 4 seasons, which is absolutely insane. But like you're saying, Cheesecake, all the projection systems have him anywhere from 10 to 13 steals next year. So yeah, like right in that range. So yeah, I could see it. Marty, let's go to you, bud, because Tim Anderson was the example we used pre-show about somebody.
Yep.
And you like Tim Anderson. The batting average, I believe he has the highest qualifying batting average since 2019 among players right now, as far as like his batting average. I think it's around 330 since then. I'll double check on that. But besides the batting average, why do you like Tim Anderson?
Well, before I start talking about him, I'm going to flip my hat around. You know why? Because he's a bad man. And this is how Tim Anderson wears his hat. So let's start at batting average. So this is him over the last 3 seasons. He batted 355, 322, 309. He's going to get you at least 15, 20 homers, somewhere in there, at least 15, 20 steals. He's leading off in one of the best lineups in baseball. The White Sox are just going to be, beasts day in, day out throughout that entire year. So expect him to get close to 100 runs. RBIs are going to be around, 60, 70, somewhere in that, maybe a little bit more, depending on if he's able to get a couple more home runs. But speaking of steady eddies, I mean, what more could you ask for? And on the turn, let's say if you start off with a Garrett Cole or you go with a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and you want to be able to solidify some, 20 home runs, 20 steals, and a great batting average, that is your guy.
So you like him. I mean, he's the 4th shortstop going off the board. You have to get him like as a pretty much, I know the average right now is 31, but that's kind of towards the back end of the 2nd, beginning of the 3rd round. You're comfortable using that capital.
Yeah, right on the turn. Yeah. We need as many hitters as possible. They're not going to sink my batting average, and they're going to be able to contribute in steals. And he's going to be able to do that with no questions asked. His
BABIP, which I know people were talking about that eventually going down.
It's always been high.
Yeah, his last 3 seasons of his BABIP, 399, 383, 372. That BABIP,
boys will be boys. Hey, that's just it goes with him, and he's always able to outperform it. He's still be able to run at a good speed. He does strike out more than I'd like to. So anyone in those OBP leagues or the points leagues, obviously he takes a huge hit. But Roto, he's good to go.
All right. Let's go back now. Let's talk about the other side of the coin, our dislikes in this top half of the range. And Mike, let's go back to you. Who in this 1 through 15 range do you find yourself just too expensive for your taste?
So I was considering a couple players here. One of them was Semien, but I like his dual eligibility enough. I'm still probably not going to be getting him in a lot of teams, but the guy that I'm fading the most based on ADP is probably Francisco Lindor. I know he's been really good in the past. I guess this is partly based on my experience of having him on my teams last year. I just don't feel comfortable with how deep this position is to just say like, oh, he's the fifth or sixth best guy at the position. I don't think he's going to steal like he used to. I don't think the Mets play in a good park. The Mets always are a mess to some degree. Like I don't see them putting it all together and him just being a force, in their lineup. Of course, this is all possible. He's still a talented player, and he's creeping on age a little bit. He's not like in his mid-20s anymore. So I guess all these things combined make me want to fade him at this stage in most leagues.
That's fair. I think, people are expecting a somewhat of a bounce back, but how much of a bounce back to be worth I mean, right now he's discounted, but maybe not enough for others. I mean, he's right now going around pick 50. So you're seeing him go, in the 4th round, and you're like, is that, especially a deep position like shortstop, is it that type of capital you want to spend?
Thanks for telling me that, as I don't have a shortstop through round 14 in TGFBI.
Yeah, you're living dangerously with that one.
Living life on the edge.
Doc, Trevor's story. I think people are talking about our buddy Micah at Fantasy Central 1 tweeted out today, if he is out of Coors, he's going to be a Jazz Chisholm. Now
I won't go that far, but I see where he's going with that. But Trevor's story, the 5th ranked shortstop, Jazz Chisholm, what is he, 12?
Jazz Chisholm over the last 2 weeks is 12, yes.
Yeah, so I hate the combination of low walk, high K rate. Trevor's story for his career is 8.5 walk percentage, 27.6 K percentage. So if he leaves Colorado, you figure the power goes down. And that's not just home runs. Figure RBIs, runs. It affects multiple counting stats on there. And Trevor Story has gotten very lucky with his BABIP, probably playing in Colorado. 343, 332, 345, 361, 354, and finally regressed to 293 last year. I see it staying closer to that than in the 350s, 360s, and it's been in the first couple of years of his career. I don't have a problem with him as a player. For me, it's just more of price, and I know that's what these conversations are centered around.
Yeah, obviously you have to spend a good amount of capital to get Trevor's Story. But we brought his name up, Cheesecake, so I'd like you to weigh in. Jazz Chisholm, very polarizing player. I think some people like his upside, but then some people are scared off of his floor. Sounds like you're more of the latter here with Mr. Chisholm.
Yeah, I mean, when we had our Marlins buddy Peter Pratt on here, he predicted a 40-40 season for Jazz, and
did he really?
He did. He did. You'd love to see it. He seems like a good person. He's a otherworldly talent, and the Marlins, they need someone like that on their squad. But I look at him, and I think a lot of the work is being done by his April from last season for how people are thinking about him this year. He was injured at the end of April, came back, and in May through the end of the season, he hit 236 with 14 home runs and 14 stolen bases. It kind of sounds like Robbie Grossman to me, if out over the whole season. And it's like, and so like I realize that the steals, the speed are what you're looking for, and I think you're going to get speed from Jazz Chisholm, but I also think you're paying a lot for it. And if you really want to get that sort of middle to poor batting average with 20 steals, you can go about 80 picks later and pick up Robbie Grossman, or you can find your speed in a different way. With Jazz, you're going to have to take on a lot of batting average risk. Now, if your build is such that you are very good on batting average, Chisholm might be a good bet, a good flyer, a good lottery ticket to take. But it is a lottery ticket. I think that it's possible he has, that sort of really low 230s batting average with 2020, and it's great. That's helping your team, but you're spending like a 5th or 6th round right now, 5th round pick on him. And there's a lot of good pitching going in that range. There's a lot of good pop going in that range. And I feel like you're having to pass up on a lot of good team building things to take some speed there. It's not empty speed, but it's killing your batting average.
Yeah, it's a very risky pick in the top 5 rounds to go ahead and go get Jazz Chisholm, one of the bigger boomer bust players this year. So we'll see how that plays out, hopefully very soon. Now, Marty, you have another young phenom here, one of the bigger phenoms with Wander Franco. Obviously, this being a roto league, that you have him in a bust in this format. Do you have the same for points leagues, or is it just more you're talking about for roto?
Yeah, no, points he's going to be absolutely great. And I think this is one of those times where, we're as like an actual baseball player, a full baseball player, Wander Franco is absolutely incredible. So let's separate these two, and we'll only talk about him strictly fantasy, because I think some of this hype, getting him all the way to the pit 56, in front of Baez, in front of Polanco, in front of Seager, even in front of your boy Witt. It's just the fact that he is going to be a very great MLB baseball player. But looking at his stats, he has only hit double-digit home runs once in his pro career, and that was all the way back at rookie ball. So it's possible, yeah, he's very young. So, it's possible he makes that leap, and maybe he gets you 12, maybe 15 home runs. But he's not going to steal you a ton of bases either. I mean, he has a great sprint speed. It's in the 85th percentile, but he only stole 2 bases last year. And the Rays aren't exactly gung-ho, on running that much. So it's less of, how great he's going to be. And just for this year strictly, he's going to get you a good batting average. He's going to be able to get you a good amount of runs. But outside of that, he's doing nothing elite. Nothing that's really going to show up for you, day in, day out. So that's why.
Yeah, I mean, if you look just in the minor leagues, he had only 1 season with double-digit stolen bases in 2019 at single A. Now, projection systems have him anywhere from 8 to 10. Seems kind of lofty based off of his 2 steals in 70 games last year. But, I mean, you're right, Marty. I mean, you look a 12% K percentage, and, that's consistent among his minor league track record. 7%, 7.4%, 6.7%. This guy doesn't strike out. He walks at a little bit of a below average clip, but he's still getting on base. And better real life player, like you said, I think, than fantasy player. And in points leagues, him not striking out and consistently getting on base is going to be a good staple to have in your lineup there. Let's talk about the next range. I always think this is the funnest part of the conversation. When we get to away from the slam dunks. Before we get away from the slam dunks, Michael, have you heard that Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be the next Patrick Mahomes for baseball?
What does that mean?
Exactly.
It means that he's going to have the impact on the Royals like Patrick Mahomes had on the Chiefs.
I could see it from an excitement standpoint from the fans.
David, you have to find out which analyst said this so you can properly
I remember that. But Michael, I really, really, really fast, and then I promise we're going to go back here. Julio Rodriguez, Adley Rutschman, Bobby Witt Jr. Rank those 3 for me.
For fantasy? Long term? Or just this year?
Let's do I know this year they might come up at different times. Let's say long term and then in real life. Like long term for fantasy and then for just real life.
Well, I've always been a Julio Rodriguez guy. I think his hit tool is special. So he's my number 1. And Witt number 2, and Adley number 3. That's how I would rank them long term for fantasy. For real life, that I don't have as much experience with, but I guess I would say Adley Rutschman's number 1, and Witt would be number 2 because of their positions. Julio Rodriguez number 3.
So you're a Julio Rodriguez. I know Clegg is too. Bobby Witt I have is the best of the 3.
It makes sense. I mean, I understand it. He's going to be up first. He steals more.
Yeah. It's going to be it'll be exciting to watch all those guys. I think hopefully they'll all can debut this year, which would be really cool. But we'll save that for a prospect show, which you can check out the call up on YouTube if you have not already.
Hey.
But all right, 16 through 30 as we get to this range now. Let's switch up the order a little bit here as we go here. Let's start with Marty. Let's talk about your favorite going in the 16 through 30 range. And dare I say, you're talking about a New York Yankee, Gleyber Torres.
That I am. So the renaissance of Gleyber Torres. So this year he's going to have a bounce back year. And I think when people think about Gleyber Torres, they think that he had a worse season than he did. I mean, he only hit 9 home runs, but he still stole 14 bases. He batted .259, got you 50 runs, 51 RBI. And he's kind of bouncing back between second and shortstop. And, a lot of times when players are doing that, and they don't have a position, they kind of freak out about that, and they end up spending more time and focusing more on their defensive skills and not completely on, their offensive skills. So Torres, he still has a starting lineup or a starting role in one of the best lineups in baseball. He's still hitting in Yankee Stadium. He's still going to be visiting Baltimore, although the fences are a little bit more pushed out, so the wall scrapers won't be going out. But yeah, he'll still be fully in the AL East, and I'm expecting a big bounce back for him. And what do I mean by that? 15 to 20 home runs, around 10 steals, and a .270 average, where he's going in that middle infield position. Or if you're Doc and you've waited way too long, he'd be your starting second baseman or shortstop. But he's going to be extremely valuable there, and you're going to be able to ride him throughout the entire year.
Does it also help that he's in the best shape of his life?
I haven't heard that, but I'm sure he is.
Yeah, it was an article from MLB.com on actually February 26th, so not too yeah, they're talking about that that he's feeling great, that he's lost weight, and he feels as athletic as he ever has.
Well, there you go. That's all you need to know. Now he should be good to go, for the rest of the year. But looking at just after the All-Star break, he batted 289. He hit you 6 home runs and he got you 8 steals. So if you can just ride that wave into next year, he's going to be a really solid pick there.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting him at a very good price right now. If we scroll down to him, he's going right now at where is he? The 20th shortstop, a pick 146.
Yep.
So that's pretty.
I mean, last year he was going around the 4th, 5th round. So yeah, this is a huge break.
Cheesecake, you are a big fan of Mr. Dansby Swanson, the Q-tip. So I got to ask you, why are you all in on the Dansby Swanson team?
Why do you call him the Q-tip?
Because it's like Swanson seems like swab, like you would swab with a Q-tip.
Oh, okay. I thought because he does have like a hair thing that kind of puffs up on the top sometimes.
Oh, we got two reasons.
I thought I was like, is that because of his hair?
Even either one works, but he's the Q-tip.
Yeah, I mean, you could call him the TV dinner because isn't Swanson the TV dinner company? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I'll look that up.
I never touch the stuff. I'm all about healthy food, people. No, not true. Dansby Swanson is an above average shortstop. He plays a plus shortstop. He plays just about every day for that Atlanta team that has a very good offense. Even if they lose Freddie Freeman, they're going to be getting Marcelo Zuna back. They're probably going to sign somebody to replace Freeman. So they're not going to have some bum at first base. And Swanson generally he hit in the 5th or 6th spot in the lineup last season and accumulated a lot of counting stats, 27 home runs, 166 combined runs plus RBIs, which is really solid. He also stole 9 bases. This is a person who has an 82nd percentile sprint speed. So he's another guy. He doesn't have the same power as Semien, and he's not going to produce the same amount of counting stats as Semien. But I kind of look at him like a poor man's Marcus Semien, someone who plays every day, plays a decent shortstop, doesn't have the positional flexibility of Semien, but he does produce the counting stats. He does have the pop. And there's always the potential that he could produce more home runs or more stolen bases. And I think that good pop and decent chip and speed is a very nice buy. And I think when you compare him to the guy I just talked about, Jazz Chisholm, you're getting a better batting average, you're getting more pop, and you're getting maybe half the stolen bases. So I think that I would rather take someone else where Jazz is going and just take Dansby and try to fill in a little bit more speed later on in the draft.
Yeah, if you look since 2019, his barrel percentages went up. His hard hit percentages also went up. They got to 40% and above the last 3 years. And his barrel percentage is now in back-to-back years, 11.4%. So he's definitely hitting the ball harder, a lot more power. And like you said, that's definitely something that could be appealing. ISO is obviously now it's gone up 4 straight years. So, he's hitting, giving you his average went down a little bit last year, 248 compared to 274 in the short in 2020, 251, but probably like a 240 to 260 hitter, give you 20 home runs. It's not a bad where he's going right now. I could see why he's appealing to you, especially if you miss out on the runs there. And he's going to give you anywhere from like maybe, 9 to 11, 12 steals. So right around like that Semien stolen bases range right there. Doc, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Long time no talk. How about you?
Mm-hmm. Pretty good. You're a fan of Chris Taylor, I see. Somebody that has this position flexibility everywhere, but are you scared that we saw last year was a career year from him and that even though he's not super expensive, that he won't be anywhere near what he was last year?
Well, it's funny is everybody we've mentioned so far has been gone in my draft, so that's just showing you how behind the barrel and shortstop I am. But I don't think it's a career year. I actually we talk about the multi-position eligibility. But if there's a DH and Max Muncy's out, that opens 2 everyday roles. And last year, Chris Taylor played 148 games, which was the second most in his career. He's only 30 years old. He's one of those guys that seems like he's been around forever. And he's going to do a little bit of everything. Now, he's not going to give you the best batting average. He's a career 250 hitter. But he stole 13 bags last year. He had 20 home runs. He's hitting in a great lineup. 70 RBIs, I think, is within the realm. And especially just because of his multi-position eligibility in a shortened season where people might get hurt ramping their body up, you can plug him in a variety of places. What are you, his second shortstop outfield? So that's a lot of ground he can cover. And he's a guy I've been targeting in a lot of my drafts. And just in TGFBI, I didn't get him.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's going to play a lot also for the fact that the Dodgers have lost some players. So, but again, is he an accumulator? 160 games last year, 27 homers, 88 RBIs, had never had more than 17 in a season before last year. The 9 stolen bases are great. So again, in that 9 to 10, 11, 12 stolen base range.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we've talked about with like Whit Merrifield, because I know we disagree on certain things, but I'm chasing those accumulators, those people that have everyday roles that you can have multi-position eligibility so that if you take a second baseman and you hit on a later pick, you can move Whit to outfield, or you can move Chris Taylor in a variety of spots. And because he's playing in a great lineup, he should hopefully accumulate those stats. I think he's going to have a longer leash than he has in previous years.
Fair enough. Oh, by the way, also cheesecake, there are Swanson TV dinners. So you are correct. Just make sure I found that. All right, Mike, did we say your guy, or is your guy still hidden from the public yet?
Well, I actually like those options more than my guy. I went a little bit deeper on the list. I was torn between Brendan Rodgers and Luis Urias. I like their multi-position. Basically, that's the main reason. And they're similar level players to me. The reason I lean towards Urias is because Rodgers has a long history of being injured. I don't trust the Rockies as much. Urias has the second short and third base eligibility, and that's key for leagues that you need depth. The increase in power last year was significant, and I'm not necessarily saying this is a power hitter because he's kind of a smaller guy, but this is a guy who's always been really young coming up through the minor leagues. And when he was in his early stages, like this is a guy that had like a Wander Franco type 7% K rate. So like there's some room for him to become like a pretty good batting average guy. Like I think their projections in the 255 range or whatever is probably pretty low. So you're not going to get the home runs, but a great park, good lineup, 24 years old, just coming in to his own. And he's the type of guy who I could see, and we kind of saw it last year, where he just blows up because he's finally matured in playing against people his own age for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see it just by finally about getting the opportunity, which I think could be there for him. Let's stay with you, Mike, and let's talk about someone in this range you don't necessarily find yourself drafting too much of, and who would that be?
And that would be Eugenio Suarez. It's the batting average thing. He's been too bad in batting average for too long now. I don't know. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but he had a monster year a couple years ago, and that's just an outlier season, in my opinion. And basically, he's a guy that I would take in a points league, but it's just like it's just a nightmare. Like the 35 or 40 home runs he may hit, if he stays in the lineup and hits 210, I just even at shortstop and third base, I'm just rather avoid it and let someone else deal with that.
Well, Marty, I think you are very much concurring with that statement. Anything else you would like to add for why you're also fading Eugenio Suarez?
I mean, you weren't kidding. Michael's a very smart guy. Do you know what I mean? Like I just could not agree with him more. And, and I do have those horrendous stats here in front of me. So in 2020, let's start there. His expected batting average was 216. He somehow had a worse expected batting average in 2021, where it was only 215. He strikes out 29.8% of the time. For those keeping track at home, that's a K percentage in the 6th percentile. Yes, there's a possibility he's going to, hit you 30, 35 home runs. So, for those that are in an overall aspect and they're just literally swinging for the fences on every single pick, I can kind of make sense of that to a certain degree. But at the same time, I mean, he's going to absolutely plummet your batting average every single time he's out there. His walk percentage is in the 63 percentile. So points leagues, OBP, he's a little bit more valuable. But even with, the third base and shortstop eligibility, it's a no thank you.
No, thank you. So polite of you, Marty. Yeah, I think he was one of my bigger mistakes last year drafting him because the power, you thought he'd give you like a 240 batting average, 40 home runs. And he showed he's kind of an all or nothing guy. And that batting average was brutal for anybody that had him all season. He was, most of the year, he wasn't even hitting 200. So it's just.
And he finished at 198. And we think about him hitting all those home runs. And again, we go back to that 2019 bouncy ball where he had those 49 home runs. So I don't see that ever happening again.
No, I think I'm right there with you. I'm definitely fading him, both of you guys in that one. Now, Doc, you like to stay away from, drum roll, dramatic pause, Brandon Crawford, who's right below.
No, that's who my late round gem is.
Wait, what do you mean your late round?
He's 31.
Brandon Crawford, look where he is.
JP Crawford. He wants JP Crawford.
Yeah, I'll take JP Crawford. And speaking of, Nicky Lopez got taken in my draft. Another shortstop did also. I'm really panicking at this point.
While you're panicking, why don't you talk about one that probably went in Amed Rosario?
All right, so Amed Rosario, a career 4.6 walk percentage. I mean, that's awful, especially for someone that you're looking to maybe get some stolen base upside from. He has limited power upside. He has a career 272 average. I mean, we've kind of seen this from him before. Like, he's played in the major leagues for 4 full seasons, and he's had flashes, but just no consistency. Like, he's going to get playing time playing with the Guardians every day, but he doesn't barrel the ball well at all. It's 3.3% for his career, relatively low hard hit percentage. Like, I just don't see. Like, we can see with Alberto Mondesi or other people, it's okay, we're chasing steals, we're chasing batting average. What are you chasing with him? Playing time?
Stolen bases is the biggest thing, but he only had 13 last year, and most projection systems have him anywhere from like 10 to 17. So it's not like he's giving you like 20 plus steal upside.
Yeah, he had 13 last year, and he had 0 in 46 games with the Mets the year before. So
yeah, and he had 321 OBP last year.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is, like, it's not like year in year out he's giving you speed. Like, he probably will have double digits, but that's just a huge reach for me. It's going to sink every other category.
Yeah, I think he might be one of my bigger ones as well. But did he get taken in your draft?
Amed Rosario?
Yeah,
probably.
Oh, he should. If he did, he should have taken.
All right. Let me update you guys on the shortstops that's left. The top one. So Brandon Crawford, Rosario did get taken.
Oh, there you go. It's not your problem anymore.
Let me tell you, I'm really this category is very shallow.
All right. Well, just like how you're shallow, let's go to someone who's not, and let's go to LC. And you are a disliking Mr. Cruz. Now that hurts many people that are high on the 6'7" shortstop prospects. Why are you being a Debbie Downer?
Well, I mean, it is. You're never going to go wrong betting against rookie breakouts. I think that's one of the first things that I'll say is that it's a big jump. And Cruz had 9 plate appearances in the bigs last season. Got 3 hits. Had 30 plate appearances at AAA. Hit about 550 at AAA, but that's still only about 40 total plate appearances at the upper levels. He's 6'7". He's a fantastic athlete. His career in the minor leagues, his career 162 game average is 281 batting average with 20 home runs, 24 steals, 100 runs, and 83 RBIs. Fantastic. That looks like a guy who's going to become a 5-tool player, perhaps. But this is a big jump for him. AAA was not that strong, and he only has 9 plate appearances at the big league level. He's going to have a big adjustment. We look at what happened with Jared Kelenic last season. he had like a 40 at bat hitless streak when he got up, and no one was questioning the tools that Kelnick has. I think when you're trying to pick someone, you have to draft them like a prospect. You have to draft them so high. The opportunity cost generally comes at a big cost, because around where he's going, pick 215, Jordan Montgomery is still available in a lot of drafts. A lot of good pitchers. Your Dylan Floros, if you're needing to get saves, there's another person who's going to be available to you. There's a lot of pitching, and there's a lot of power there in the outfield, a lot of talent there. So the other point I want to say is that, like, if you're drafting ONeill Cruz, are you going to be playing him to start the season? Or are you putting him on your bench? We just don't have enough information right now about whether or not he's going to be up to start the season, how he's going to be once he gets there. To me, the opportunity cost is just too high. I'm not drafting a guy with 9 big league plate appearances who's 6'7", and I have no way to project how he's going to go.
He's kind of like you're very much out on the potential projects and the high upside but low floor guys with him and Jazz Chisholm.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to take those types of chances this year.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's rapid fire. Let's go and do our last part of this segment. And starting with you, Mike, after shortstop 30, who are you trying to target in every single one of your drafts?
Well, I actually wrote down a little group here, but just as a prospect guy. But I'll stick with one. I mean,
who's your group? You can list a few guys.
Well, it's basically the guys who could see time in the majors this year. It'd be Jose Barrero for the Reds, Jeremy Pena for the Astros, Bryson Stott for the Phillies, and a deep sleeper is Royce Lewis if he's healthy.
Royce Lewis. Yeah, Royce Lewis is way down there at 731. He's free. You can get him in the last round of your draft. And I think even in drafting holds, I haven't seen him being taken in like the 50-round drafting holds. So
yeah, it's a very big gamble, but the talent is there. Like, he's just way off the radar at this point. Once he stays healthy, like, he's a guy that people are going to want, I think.
Out of the first three you mentioned, Barrero and Pena and Stott, do you have a favorite out of that group for this year?
I guess it's Barrero because he's already been in the majors, but it's tough. It's tough for me because I think any of them could end up getting the most playing time. Like, the Astros and the Phillies have a hole at shortstop as far as I'm concerned, and the Reds are in a rebuild, and Barrero is capable of playing outfield too. So it's really tough for me. Like, it's one of those things where I basically just kind of wait on them and then take the last one type of thing, rather than to aggressively target one of them.
I dig it. LC, you close us out with Mr. Hong-Sung Kim, who you're, I guess, not concerned about the playing time like it was last year.
I'm not. I think that with the DH going to be there in the NL, Kim, there's just more opportunity for him to get some plate appearances. And I don't think we saw the real Ha-Seong Kim last season. He was a 5-tool player in the Korean League. It's a big step up. It was his first experience hitting major league pitching. I think you're going to see a little bit more. Not the 295, 20, 30, 30 that he was doing his last few seasons in Korea, but I think you're going to see a little bit more of that 5-tool profile start to show out. And he's going late. He's got that shortstop eligibility and potential for 450 to 500 plate appearances with good pop and speed and a good batting average. We got to remember that it takes a long time for these guys to get used to the major leagues when they come over. So I think it's in his second season. I'd like to see him. I think he's going to step up.
All right. And Marty?
I was going to say, I thought you were going to almost forget about me, but you didn't. Good for you.
Of course not.
But yeah, I'm going to do it. Tyler Wade. So scroll all the way down to a pick of 521. you will find Mr. Wade. He has shortstop, third base, and outfield eligibility. So I absolutely love that. So start there. Really good position flexibility that late in your draft. And the Yankees traded away Wade after he finally had a breakout season. So he's on the Angels now, and he's going to be, as of right now, they're starting shortstop. So ATC projects him for about 20 stolen bases. And this is going to be the first time he's ever been able to be a starter. So it's possible he's able to keep around that 260, 270 batting average. He's sitting at the bottom of the lineup, like I said, so I don't expect there to be tons of counting stats. But for where he's going, maybe your last pick of the entire draft to get 20 stolen bases without killing your batting average with all that eligibility, sign me up.
Interesting. I don't think we were going to hear a Tyler Wade call on this podcast, but
that's why we get deep.
I like it. Maury just goes and cannonballs in the deep end. Doc, close us out for us before we can move on in the show here with your JP Crawford.
Yeah, so JP Crawford, I mean, finally got the playing time last year, 160 games, career highs in home runs, RBIs, career low in K percentage. He's actually been declining the last 4 years. I think Seattle's going to have a better hitting lineup, and I look at how he finished the year in September, October. He played in 29 games, hit 311, 3 homers, 16 RBIs, 22 runs. So hopefully he carries that momentum into the next season.
All right. Well, good way to close that out. A lot of great discussion. We were able to knock out a lot of good players, a lot of players we're avoiding, and of course some gems. So as always, a lot of good coverage here on the Triple Play Fantasy Podcast. Let's move now to our next segment, which is going to be our question of the week, which is sponsored by Monkey Knife Fight. Triple Play Fantasy is an affiliate to Monkey Knife Fight, the fastest growing sports betting site in the United States. If you would like to have your $100 deposit match up to $100, so 50 for 50, 100 for 100, 20 for 20, whatever you got, they will match you up to 100. Use promo code Triple Play and they got you. All right. Question of the week. You get to make a pitcher. You can create one. All types of pitches from current MLB pitchers are available. You get to pick 3 for that arsenal for your pitcher that you're going to create. Give me the 3 pitches. Obviously, the pitch that you pick, you got to tell me the pitcher that throws it. So let's start with you, Michael. I put this question out on Twitter about like a week or 2 ago, and I loved seeing some of the responses. So let's hear your created pitcher.
Well, I'm going to be honest. This part slipped my mind. I didn't.
I
basically.
We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. You'll get some creative stuff here from some of these guys. So,
okay.
Doc, let's start with you. What does your pitcher have in his
arsenal? Yeah, so my guy's just going to be a flamethrower for the most part. He's going to have a Josh Hader fastball, something with a little more upward movement. Then we're going to have a Jordan Hicks sinker. So just fast pitches, but going in the opposite direction. And one of the underrated sliders in the game, Adam Ottavino. Adam Ottavino throws a great slider, tons of movement. And there's a video where you can see it from the batter's perspective. It looks like a boomerang. So no slow pitches for me.
Just all out gas. Okay.
Exactly. Tommy John probably halfway through the season.
Okay. I mean, that's probably true with what your guys throwing. Marty, who is what is your arsenal?
All right, so we're going to start off with the two-seamer. So Brusdar Gratterall's 103 mile-an-hour two-seamer. It has 19 inches of run, has over 2,000 RPMs. Go check out one on Pitching Ninja against Evan Longoria. It was absolutely incredible. So to play off that two-seam fastball, I want to use Corbin Burns' backdoor cutter, which is obviously one of the best pitches in all of baseball. 4 to 5 inches of movement, up to 3,000 RPMs. He can hit up to 99 miles an hour. And if you watch it, it's off the plate, and then at the last second, curls back in and gets it right in the black in that bottom right-hand corner. Righties and lefties cannot hit the pitch. So we're going to have the two-seamer and the backdoor cutter work off each other. And then we're going to bring in the best slider in all of baseball, Blake Trinan slider. It's absolutely unhittable. The batting average against it last year was 0.074. The slugging percentage against it was 0.074. So what that means is every single only hit that was off the slider was a single. And it ends off with a 45.8% whiff rate. So there's no one's going to be able to hit me.
That's digging deep for that one. Yeah, Trinan slider is with I think only behind Corbin Burns, his slider as the best pitch in baseball according to batting average against.
Marty and I both getting Tommy John surgery in June.
Yep. We need that shortened season.
Do you have all gas, or are you going some breaks here?
No, I have a varied arsenal. I went to Fangraphs and looked up pitch values, and I was looking for lefties that were kind of under the radar, maybe not the people that you would expect to have the best pitch values. So I'm starting off with the Tyler Matzik fastball, which was the number 12th best fastball by pitch value last season, and that fastball is gonna be the basis of my pitcher's arsenal. 12th best fastball. Then the 28th best slider is Gregory Soto's. There's my lefty slider coming in. He puts it right under the right-handed hitters, and they can't, right-handed hitters can't touch that slider. It just dives down to their feet. But here's how I'm going to get them. The number one changeup in all of baseball was a guy trying to make the Angels rotation this season. Jose Suarez had the top changeup by pitch value in all of baseball. So my three lefties coming up with a lefty starter with Tyler Matzik fastball, the Gregory Soto slider, and Jose Suarez's changeup. I'm going to be unhittable.
That's a man that does his homework right there. Nice job. I mean, there was no superstar references in there, so that's digging deep to see what pitches from these kind of lower key guys are really just kind of putting the world on fire. So I like those calls. Surprised no one has said Jacob deGrom's fastball, Jacob deGrom's slider.
That's what I was going to use.
I thought about it.
Oh, you're gonna go all Jacob deGrom, Mike?
Well, I was going to use one of them at least. I guess I was going to use his slider. I guess Aroldis Chapman's fastball, Jacob deGrom slider, maybe Lucas Giolito changeup, and just someone with really good control.
Yeah, that's a good arsenal too. I think you guys are all, some of you guys are headed for Tommy John surgery. I think LC, you're good. You might be the one that I picked because you last the longest.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe Chapman.
But all right, let's go to our last segment of the night. That's our game of the week, and I'm hosting this week. And sometimes it's very difficult to think of new ideas for games, but your boy did. And it's called the father-son connection. So I'm going to give you a son or a father, and you have to tell me the name of the other that I don't say. So whether it's the father or the son. Okay, you got to give me their actual full name. So some of them obviously are easier and some of them are a little more difficult. But I tried to make sure I could find the most kind of close-ish ones to where everybody could guess it, not ones that like Doc's going to struggle with here. I know Doc's not going to know the older ones.
I mean, that's true. There is a big age gap between me.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I thought that was shade for a second.
I thought it was shade, and then I realized that it's factual.
Yeah, no, I was trying to make it fair. So the example for you guys, if I were to say Bo Bichette, who would you guys say is his father?
Dante Bichette.
Dante.
There you go. So
or is it we call out first or round robin?
I'm just going to go round robin, and then someone else starts off each time. So if you know the answer, maybe look like you're thinking about it. Because I was either going to do this or just have you guys all DM me on Twitter, but I think it's going to take too long. So let's just do it round robin. I've got 10 of these here. I feel like they should go quick, so that's why I did 10. So let's get this started. Let's hopefully give everybody a gimme here. And let's start off with you, Doc, up top. Kevin Biggio, what's the name of his father?
Craig.
Marty?
Craig.
Kelsey? Mike?
Craig.
Congratulations. You all have a point. All right. Marty,
Nice.
You start off number 2. Who is Cody Bellinger's father?
Mark.
LC? Oh, my guys, you too. Love you, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
He's selling it. He's selling it.
I'm pretty sure Mark is wrong.
Well, what's right?
I think it's Mark Belanger. I have no idea.
Come on. He threw to him in the home run derby.
Brian.
Okay. Mike, I can tell you that's wrong, so don't pick Brian.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'll go with Eric.
Oh, you'll never usually get it right if you pick Eric. Just FYI.
You know what? Since you picked my name, I'll pick yours, Michael.
Guys, it's Clay. You guys remember Clay Bellinger?
No,
yes.
I didn't.
Yes.
No.
He's a left-handed pitcher, Clay Bellinger. Guys.
Yeah,
my goodness.
that's one of those things I don't pay attention to for some reason,
All
or
right.
just goes over my head.
All right, well, we're 1 for 2. LC, you are starting off with our next one. Who is Kyle Drabek's father? I believe his dad was better than him, if I'm not mistaken.
Doug.
Mike?
Doug.
Doc?
It's Doug.
Did you actually know that?
I did, actually.
Marty?
Doug.
That is correct. It is Doug Drabek. Nice job. All right, each of ours got 2 on number 4. Michael, you're starting this one off. I know them 3 are going to get this one. Just want to make sure you will as well. Who is the father of Nick Gordon and D. Strange Gordon? It's good we're starting off with you for this one because, yeah, I know they'll get it.
Weird. I feel
Maybe
like I
not
should
Marty.
know this immediately.
You're going to kick yourself.
I know. I'm like halfway there, but I'm not going to be able to get there quickly. I used to know this. I guess I don't know the answer.
All right. We'll take an L for Mike there. Doc,
David, do I have to say it?
I guess for the competitive advantage, you don't, because Marty wasn't there for that interview.
I was going to say we interviewed him and I bought his jersey. So
Okay, so Marty.
That's not fair. He can just not play.
You're right. You're right. You're right. That means Marty doesn't know it. So go ahead and give him the answer, Doc.
Oh my gosh, it's Tom.
I actually was going to say Tom. That's hilarious. I swear to God.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
You guys are wrong. Is Flash Gordon is the right name.
I should have just said we're going to accept Flash Gordon. Okay, so each of you guys have 3, and Mike has 2. All right. The son of Ivan Rodriguez, Doc.
Oh gosh, Derek Rodriguez.
Marty.
Roger.
Marty.
It's Derek.
Mike.
Derek.
I think Roger Rodriguez would be a better answer.
Roger. That doesn't even sound right.
Rodriguez, I could see it.
I think it should have. I wish the answer was Roger Rodriguez. It's Derek Rodriguez. He started out with the Giants and now he's kind of bounced all over the place. All right. Next one.
Derek Rodriguez was apparently like the biggest joke on fantasy baseball Reddit for a while.
Was he?
He's like, they called him like a grenade or something.
I mean, yeah, he was pretty bad when he pitched. All right, Marty, I think you're up. Give me the father of Aaron and Brett Boone.
Oh, I should know this one, and I don't.
To be fair, I didn't know his name either until I did the game. So I'm
gonna stick with Mark. Mark. Yep.
It's gonna hit one of these days. Art.
The father of Aaron and Brett Boone is Bob.
Michael.
Bob.
Doc. Yeah, I could hear him say
On
Bob.
mute.
Even though he was on mute, I could see his mouth.
Bob.
The correct answer is Bob. So you guys were able to ride Elsie's coattails on that one. Nice job.
I actually remember that.
I knew that one too.
Oh, nice job, guys. All right. What's their score update going to the last 4?
Me and Art are tied with 5.
5, yeah.
And then Marty 4, 3.
3.
Mike, how many do you have?
I think I have 4. Maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
And I have 4.
All right. We're going changing scores here. All right. Give me the father of Michael Brantley. And Art, we start with you.
You give them all the easy ones.
These last 4 are a little harder.
Michael Brantley's father is named Mark.
Mike. Do you guys want a hint?
Yeah.
It starts with M. You already guessed Mark, so it would have done the same thing, Art. That's why I said do the hint. It starts with M. You're still not gonna get it, so
Melvin.
nobody's gonna get it. Eric.
Marvin.
I hope you guys are watching on YouTube just to see LC's reaction. Marty, do you want to go with Mark, your guy as well, or you want to switch it
I'm
up?
gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go Michael. He has the same first name. It's a trick question.
Technically, it's Mickey Brantley, but isn't Mickey short for Michael?
Mm?
Could be short for Mickey.
It is today.
I don't know. I don't
Is that
count
like
it.
is that a half
I don't
point?
count it. I don't count it. Mickey Mantle wasn't Michael Mantle. It was Mickey Mantle.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I'm looking up Mickey Brantley, and there's no Michael. Oh wait, hold on. Michael Charles Brantley Sr. He's
No,
the American hitting
Mike.
coach.
We don't view him as Michael Brantley Jr. It's not on the back.
Let Marty have this one. He's
I'm gonna
in
let him
last
have it.
place right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
let him have it.
All right,
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
All right. Give me the son of Sal Butera. Michael.
Drew.
Doc.
Drew.
Marty.
Drew.
Art.
True.
Nice job associating the last name. I was hoping you guys would do that for me. All right, we got two
Twin,
left.
that's a twin, David. Come on.
Good. All right, next one. Doc, give me the son of Steve Grilly.
Jason.
Marty.
Jason.
Art.
Jason.
Mike.
Jason.
All right, good job. Those were two just with the last name. All right, what's the score going into the last one?
I got 7. I think me and Art have 7.
7, yeah.
And you
Six.
both.
Yeah, we have 6, I think.
All right, last one. Give me the father, or what's going to be the harder version here? Give me. Okay, I'm going to give it actually the other way. Give me the son of Mike Cameron. Marty, you should know this.
Do I go first?
Who started last one?
I did.
Okay, so Marty, you go first. LC?
Did he guess? I didn't hear him.
He did, but it cut out. Luckily, I heard he said the right name, so luckily.
Is it Daz?
What do you think?
Daz.
Mike?
Daz Cameron.
I got to go with Daz. That's unanimous.
And Toby's on there too. Daz, it is. I was gonna say who's the father of Daz Cameron, but I think that was a little harder to do it that way. That's 10. We have a tie at the top, and we're an hour and 12 minutes in, so we're a little long on this one. I'm gonna give you guys the split tie.
Good job, LC. Good
Good
job. Good job. Marty didn't win. Yeah. Even with that gimme with Brantley.
That was amazing that I just guessed Michael and it was Michael. Why don't you guys see the genius in that?
Yeah, I think Marty should win just for the genius of that answer. You guys were overthinking it.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm upset that you didn't do like the Bobby Berry bonds. I was ready for that one.
I was waiting for Prince and Cecil Field.
Yeah, but those
Ooh,
ones
that-
are too easy. I had to make sure we kept it a little bit.
I mean, Craig and Kevin Biggio wasn't easy.
I mean, that was just to give you guys confidence. And I totally forgot to put the music on as we played the game, too. Goodness gracious. I'm an amateur. This was supposed to be the game flow music. Oh. Well, we'll play it as we outro here. Michael Richards, the man himself, thank you so much for joining the show tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I had a lot of fun. I'm always willing to come back anytime you guys need me. And yeah, keep doing what you guys are doing. It's getting popular. Everyone likes it. So just keep doing it.
You're the man, dude. I want you to please, with some emphasis, some stuff in your chest, please tell everybody where they can find you and all the work that you do.
Okay, right now you can find me. I just started last month at Fantrax. I do a weekly prospect dynasty related article, and I'm going to be covering the Mariners during the season for Prospects 1500. And I'm going to start bringing back a lot more lists for people, dynasty lists, and try to help people find players before they're ranked really high on everyone's list.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're looking for prospects, and you're looking for some of the best minds for prospects, you got to look no further than Michael Richards. And where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me at MP Richards 1981.
Nice. Perfect. Yes. Make sure you follow him if you're not already. Again, one of the best fantasy baseball minds out there. Everybody that watches Triple Play Fantasy on YouTube, you listen to the podcast, however you guys get your daily dose of Triple Play, we appreciate you guys. Next week, we're going to be joined by Ryan Bloomfield as we start breaking down our first half of outfielders. So make sure you stay tuned for that. It's going to be a fun show. But until then, everyone stay safe, happy drafting, and we're going to make like a bread truck and we're going to haul these buns. Catch you guys in the next one.